Well, hello. Welcome to Virtual Collage Jam for March 13th, 2023. Virtual Collage Jam for... Well, that's great. That means I'm actually, we can hear me, yes. Which is, and if you were aboard our Virtual Collage Jam 2 weeks ago, you know we had sound technical issues, so that you can hear us is awesome. I'm not seeing a microphone. My microphone icon is not doing any little pulsing at the bottom. Kim, why don't you introduce yourself and just unmute your stream for a second? And introduce yourself and just unmute your stream. Sounds like it's fine. So, okay.
Your sound is obviously working.
Yes, which is great. So, yeah.
Don't touch the mic and it should be all right.
Hi, Val. And Val is saying, I can hear you. Yeah. So awesome. That's great. We're a little gun shy, as you can imagine, after a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, welcome aboard, Val. How are you doing?
Rebecca's here too.
Hey, Rebecca. Yay.
Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Val.
Yay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for confirming sound is good.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's great. I'm so excited. So I found the link for the prompt that we're going to be working with on the Collage magazine page, but it is from a place that I haven't heard of before called DRMI. It's hard to remember. DRIM.
What is DRIM?
I don't know. It's like a collage website and I don't know. I don't know enough, but they have an open call for collage, and they will be doing a book of selected collages. The prompt is sound and vision, and the idea is to pick one line of the lyrics from a song that you like, and to include them in your collage and make the collage, I guess, about those words and that song.
That's a nice prompt.
Yeah. Here, I'll read their wording. Choose a favorite song, select one line from the lyrics, and let that be the inspiration for a collage. Include the chosen lyric with your submission. The deadline is March 27th. So whatever you get started today, you have at least another week, I think it is, to polish it up and get it scanned and sent off. It's $5. This is probably US, but you'll have to check their website. $5 for a single entry, or $2 or $10 for 2+ entries. I will get Kim to put the deadline in the chat in a few minutes. And there is a hashtag, which I will also get Kim to put in the chat, that you can tag your work with if you post it on social media, which I recommend. And what does it say? All participants will receive a copy of the Digimag, in other words, a digital magazine, normally $10.99, the same stunning publication as the print edition in a responsive digital flip book format. So. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. So
what an exciting space collage is these days.
It is.
It's really taken off in a major way as an artistic language for our times, I think.
I think it's so many people take pictures, there are so many images. The internet is...
We're surrounded by images everywhere we go.
And so I think anything that remixes other people's content is...
And music's that way.
Totally.
Contemporary music is full of sampling, and now when you see songwriting credits, it's not like the folk music days. It's 10 people will get songwriting credits because of sampling and collaborations, but it's a bit like musical collage.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
It is.
And that's the contemporary.
Yeah. And I think it's just the fact that if you dial us back to 1970, no internet, lots of the people you would collaborate with would be people you met in person.
People nearby.
The visual materials you would use would be found in the books or magazines or
billboards.
Yeah, but
or television.
Yeah, exactly. there really was there were a lot fewer sources. So now that there are like mushroomed sources.
Well, yeah, like the Smithsonian recently, for you collage artists out there, just released for public use millions of images.
Wow.
Yeah, millions. And that's just the Smithsonian, which is an incredible institution. Yeah. But, there are so many other institutions around the world that are doing similar things with their collections.
They are scanning or digitizing in any which way.
Yeah.
And then some of them are doing it for limited use, and some of them are just saying, you know what, we've got these thousands or millions of images that we're just making available to the public.
Yeah.
Which
so it's at the point, in the days of print, you could browse print, right? You open a book, you flip through it. You open a magazine, you flip through it. But in the days where if you're sourcing your imagery digitally, browsing now it's all about search. It's all
about your search terms, right?
Coming up with a search term and that brings you interesting results.
Yeah. And that's something that I've been, and work in progress, I've been learning, is how to use search terms. So put in a search term and think makes sense and see what kind of things you get. And it's like, oh no, it's more like this, and I need it to be more like that. So I need to put this word in, and oftentimes it takes me half a dozen attempts to get the search terms to yield the results that I'm looking for. So, the voice off camera never introduced herself, and I didn't ask her to. And so shame on me. But who have I got along with Cal Honey here? Who's over there?
I'm Kim Lee Co. Which some of you already know.
You're a poet and you knew it.
I'm feeling the flow. So let's go.
I tell you. I just okay. Yep. So
okay.
I'm going to flip to the overhead camera and get started collaging. But as you know, Kim and I will be chatting about all kinds of things. She'll be relaying what you guys are saying in the chat. And please, if you have a chance, type in the chat what song you're playing with, maybe the words that you're using. And if you have any ideas for the visuals, I have an idea that I'll be sharing with you shortly. So, but yeah, let Kim know and we'll talk about it. So the screen is about to go black temporarily while I switch the camera to overhead, but don't worry.
Yeah, I'm still here with you.
It will be temporary.
I'll
promise.
Keep you company while Cal blacks you out.
That sounds rather.
Oh, good point, Rebecca. The link for this call was in the email about today's virtual collage jam. Thank you for that useful information there. And I'm just going to put the hashtag in.
And the reason it is in there is because
you've got Rebecca on
because Rebecca put it in. Okay, I just want to get this camera to focus down here where my hands are.
We are so grateful
down here,
for
camera.
your
there we go.
assistance, Rebecca.
Yay! Yeah.
Without which so many things wouldn't get done.
More or less the way we'd like it. There we go. All right.
Okay. I think I've put all the details.
Thank you for that.
So
what details have you put in the chat, Kim?
I have put in the submission fees.
Perfect.
The deadline.
Yep. March 27th.
And the hashtag.
Awesome.
And mentioned that the link to the call is in the description.
Awesome. We're cooking. So, Kim, why don't you bring us up to speed on what the collagerati are saying?
Collagerati. Is there a single I? Well, first of all, Val and Rebecca said hi, and that they could hear us. Chris Swain has joined us. Hello, Chris. And Chris, if you don't mind sharing, roughly where you're coming in from.
Yeah,
that would be really awesome to
a new name. It's nice to have someone new along. Yeah, hi, Chris. That's awesome.
Françoise is here and says hello.
Yay.
Thank you.
That's
lovely to sort of see you.
Yeah.
See you in the chat. And Judy Nugent is here.
Awesome.
Hello, Judy.
Yeah.
Cherie is here.
Hi, Cherie.
She says, great connection with other collage communities. It was highlighted in Paris Collage Collective as well. Yeah, that's cool. This call.
Yeah.
That's great.
I want to start extending that a little bit more in what Virtual Collage Jam does. So that's why we're doing this, and we're
hook
doing
it into the
exactly
international collage community.
Exactly. Yeah. Now it's huge, and there are millions of groups.
It's amazing.
But
really.
So baby steps. But yeah, I hope to just keep broadening it. So.
Keep at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
And who else am I missing here? Oh, Francoise adds, I liked the prompt and have been working on 2 ideas from 2 different songs.
Oh, great.
That's cool.
Yeah. Because you could do as many songs as you have the strength for, right?
Send in your favorites.
Yeah, exactly. We all know that sometimes it takes more than one kick, and if you do a few, you can then have several to choose from. So
Margaret Buckworth says, I can't pay the submission fee without being a subscriber of PayPal. PayPal has an option where you can not open a PayPal account, but use your credit card to pay for something. So I would go back in and take a look at that, Margaret. I happen to know this because I use it as a someone who pays for things, but also as someone who receives payments, and that's supposed to be one of the useful things about it is you have both options.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm so excited to be here as it's spring break for me. That's
right. Yeah,
this is the March break edition.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks for reminding us, Margaret. We don't have children and or grandchildren. So
I did know that last week, and I've forgotten it this week. So
forgot.
Thank you for reminding us, and awesome to have you on.
That's
Margaret,
fantastic.
Yeah, I know you can't. You'd otherwise be in the teaching trenches, right? So yeah.
So, do you sometimes watch the replay videos, Margaret? Because you can't watch them live, or are you just hooked on the energy of live? Because there is a special energy to live, but I hope occasionally you're able to enjoy a replay. Françoise says, when you take me in your arms, I see life in pink. French song La Vie en Rose.
Nice.
Is one.
Right.
La Vie en Rose is that sorry, I'm stammering. Is that an Edith Piaf song by any chance? I could be totally wrong about that, but there's something that reminds me of by her.
Right.
Oh, stammer much? I don't usually stammer, actually.
Yeah.
Cherie writes, I was inspired by the lyrics. It's been a long, cold, lonely winter, and made a collage depicting Here Comes the Sun.
Right.
I think it's all right. Yeah. Yeah. Margaret says, but not with this website. Oh, Margaret, I'm very sorry to hear that. You might want to contact them about that, because that's annoying.
I seem to recall there was, but I might be wrong.
Some alternative payment method.
Yeah, but
you know, if
I would hope so. Anyway,
if the payment method's being annoying and you would like to participate, I think it's good for them to hear feedback if there's an issue, because that means you're not the only one, right?
Yeah.
Like other people will be experiencing the same frustration.
Exactly.
And they'll be losing out on entries. So I'm sure they would consider it a service if you wouldn't mind letting them know. Oh, pardon me. I'm afraid I have a bit of a cough today. It's not illness, it's allergies. Woke me up too. Chris says, Chris says they are from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm going to say awesome. They, because I don't know if you're a he or a she, Chris.
Right.
And I don't want to assume.
Cool.
And
yeah, welcome aboard. That's great.
the song they've selected is Downtown.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a
Downtown,
classic.
things will be great when you're... That takes me back to my childhood, boy.
Does it ever?
Yeah. Cherie says, I was told you can pay with PayPal as a guest without subscribing. Yes, I think Margaret is familiar with that method, but she was surprised to find that somehow she couldn't for this, in this case.
A little more than a little
which
bit
is
galling.
definitely frustrating. Françoise writes, beside my tree, I was happy. I should never have left it out of my sight. Another French song called Auprès de mon arbre. Wow, that sounds lovely. And so it gives you imagery right away, which is awesome.
Which is great.
Margaret says, yes, I watched the older ones too.
Awesome.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. Because, we love putting the replays up because we know there are plenty of people who love collage or just love an art video and art making video. And so it's great to connect with someone who's actually watching them. And you contacted them. Thank you, Margaret. That's you've really done a service for everybody there. She adds that she's used the lyrics, you spin me right round, baby.
Oh, right round, baby, like a record.
That's fun.
For some reason, I encountered that song just recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I'd forgotten all about it. And it's like, oh, yeah, that immediately
suggests all kinds of imagery.
Yeah, Peter somebody, I think. But yeah.
Fantastic.
It's a great... When does that date from? From the 80s or early 90s, I think.
I feel like I'm doing a cola ad. Can you hear the bubbles? I wonder how...
Yeah, suddenly everyone got thirsty.
Margaret suggests the 80s.
Right, yes. That seems about right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sort of had a new wavy feel to it, as I recall.
Are you preparing a day collage?
I am preparing a day collage. So, if I can find my song.
So you're making your lasagna.
I'm making my lasagna. So I am working with a Rush song that I like called Earth Shine.
Oh, is that what you were listening to earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I just wanted to load it into my head.
Yeah.
And it's a song about using the idea of... So Earth Shine is what happens when you have a crescent moon, and I guess the circumstances have to be right for some of the sun reflecting off the earth towards the moon lights up the rest of the moon.
Oh, the dark part.
The dark part. So you see the crescent moon brightly and the rest of the moon very palely. And so it's about that idea and how, and it's comparing it to how one sees oneself dimly and one's object of desire brightly.
Oh, lovely.
So
trust Rush to have a poetic take on it.
So the lines I've stolen are, you're still out of reach, form a dream to rise to. Earth Shine. So.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to ask you where you got this. Can you put it under the camera?
Oh, okay, yes, I will. Just give me a second.
Yeah, put your thing down.
Get this stuck down, and then
because that is a fascinating.
I think
looks like rice patties.
It was either it was one of the art.
Put it under the camera.
Yeah, so this is the image that Kim was struck by, and it's an image of some kind of agriculture, and I suspect rice terraces, because it looks like it's following contours of topography. Although
they do that a lot in Southeast Asia and China.
Yeah, it was it might have been Boom or This Is Colossal or one of those, but it was 30 satellite images.
Wow, that is stunning.
And I'm envisioning a diptych that is going to be vertical, where I'm going to use this hand that I'm going to cut out. So it probably won't be that hand, but it will be in the bottom half of the diptych, and I can't show it. So imagine this is the bottom here, and this is the top. And so there will be a hand, and then the words of the song leading up to a crescent moon. So
Cool.
Yeah, a tall, skinny vertical.
I should mention that based on what I saw in my video, the photograph is actually much greener than it looks in that. We're a little low on yellow in our color balance, so sorry about that, everybody. Yeah. The blues look much better, but they are also slightly, some of them are more yellow than that. Joy Holland has joined us from sunny Salt Spring.
Awesome. Welcome back, Joy.
I guess it's really spring
there.
It
must be, eh? Yeah.
As opposed to, we just got another fresh dump of snow yesterday.
Yeah, not so much yesterday, but it's landing on top of quite a bit already. So.
Well, I thought the car looked... When I looked out last night, the car was covered in snow.
Well, you were up later than I was, so you had a chance to check it. So,
yeah.
So I'll defer to you.
Can I hear from anybody who has trouble adjusting to the time change? Because I was up till probably 5:30 in the morning. Just like I've been up too late anyway, but now it's insane. Now it's practically dawn when I go to bed.
Pushed it beyond the pale, right?
And look who's here. It's Nellie saying hello from Amman, Jordan.
Wow.
Holy moly. It's
Nelly.
10 p.m. there.
Wow. Nellie.
You're such a trooper.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Great to see you.
You know,
here.
I don't know how many people we have on, but it's probably a pretty modest amount. So,
yeah.
But we're raking.
We're bringing them from all over.
We're raking in Ann Arbor and
Salt Spring,
and Jordan. That's pretty for a few people. That's a widespread. So that's awesome.
Rebecca says, "Yeah, I hate the time change too. Still tired."
Yeah. No, yeah. I had trouble getting to sleep.
I like the more hours of daylight, but
yeah,
it's the adjustments.
It is
spring and fall.
There is a price to pay until one adjusts, and it usually takes me like a week. I find at least. But,
Cherie says she's fine with the time change. It's my cat that's having difficulty. Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, of course. Like, why are you not feeding me at the right time?
That's right. That's right.
I love that.
Well, the cat knows who's right.
Yes. Cats do.
Because they do.
They do, right? Yeah.
That's right. I miss having a cat. Joy says, yes, the daffodils are showing, and she has her weed pail ready. Oh, good for you. I'm so terrible about weeding. Yeah. Basically anything that's maintenance. We're both terrible. That's the problem. Yeah. We need another person in this marriage who's not terrible at those things.
I hear that there are such people.
Yeah. We know people like that.
We do.
We have friends who are like that. I mean,
and they despair of us.
Yeah. We go to visit their houses.
That's right. It doesn't usually go the other way around.
Not recently, anyway.
Yeah, especially then. Yeah. Especially since. Kim, could you do me a favor? Because I did not plan something.
What do you need?
Could you find me some lid or some sort of circular thing I can use as a template that is, 2 inches ish?
2 inches ish.
You know what? I bet
beside you there might be something.
The lids in our pill bottles would probably.
Yeah, no, there's a shoebox over here.
That
might have something.
Okay, I will rifle through that.
Here's something.
That looks quite promising.
Whoops.
That looks good. Yep, that's more or less the right size.
And here are a whole bunch more to choose from. See, you didn't have to go far.
That's the Kim for you right there. She's got orange and yellow orange lids in a Ziploc with yellow and red that make orange. Oh, you gotta love artists. Thank you, Kim. That's perfect.
Oh, Nellie says, I'm so grateful. Well, so are we.
Yes.
It is one of the wonders of our age, though, isn't it? How connected we can be across, as long as wherever you are has high-speed internet. Yeah. So I seem to recall the last time you were on, Nellie, we were on with you. You were cleaning up your apartment in Paris. So I guess your visit there is over and you're back in Jordan now.
She's trotting globally.
Yep. I only trot globally virtually these days. That's something that has to change.
That is. Where's the first place on the map? I think I have an idea, but
Oh. Well, probably I'll pick the easiest place first.
no, but like yeah, well you can do that. But I was meaning where your heart wants to go.
Oh, well, you know where that is.
I do, but they don't.
Korea. I want to go to Korea.
And why?
And Japan.
And why Korea, Kim? You've been sort of on
There
a
are a
Korea
lot of-
binge
yeah.
or jag for
I
the
had
last
to-
several years.
I had to
Or 2
pause
years.
studying Korean language, but I'm going to resume. I had to focus on singing for a
You
bit
did.
because what did I do recently, Cal?
You did your very first open mic.
Yes, I sang in public at a pub for an open mic event. I've never done that in my life.
And what did you think?
And I recently turned 60 years old. And it was one of my goals for, I have a bunch of goals. Some are more easily achieved this year than others. Some may take a little longer, but I just decided to go for it sooner rather than later. So the singing didn't go perfectly, but it went okay for a first time. That's for sure. And it was a fantastic learning experience. And it was also a really fun time. But wasn't it a really warm, supportive
It was a
group?
really, it was very good that way.
Yeah. Nice pub. Yeah, I'll be doing more. So Joy says, happy to join up with you again. Missed you. We missed you too, Joy.
Yeah, it's lovely that
so glad you're back on
back.
with us. Rebecca adds, Korea is great. Yeah, you guys were clever going there. I have to get there. There's no doubt in my mind.
No way around it.
Yeah. And I don't just want to go for a couple of weeks. That is not.
That's not what you're looking for.
It's not my style.
You're not looking for just a little
No.
vacation.
I want to get to know the place.
Yeah.
That's why I have to study the language, because a little phrase book is not going to be adequate for my needs. Not that I'm going to be able to get fluent in time, but just it's considered one of the 5 hardest languages for native English speakers to learn.
Yep.
It's figures. I thought I was going to learn Japanese, and then I looked into it and thought, oh man, that's way too hard. And then I picked on Korea because, in fact, that's been my most passionate interest in the last couple of years, or 3 years, and I discovered it's just as hard. The only thing that's easier is the writing system. Has a logical writing system. Rebecca says it has so much history and stuff to see. Most people speak English, and most places have English signage. Well, that's fantastic. I understand that Koreans study English like we study French and are similarly can be similarly shy and reluctant to speak it. Perhaps younger people are less so because of the internet native generation, right? More exposure. But anyway, I like to go to a place that where I want to spend some real time. I like to be able to say something to people in their own language. It seems only polite. So, when I was young, I was good at languages. A lot has happened to my brain in the intervening decades, and it's a lot harder than it used to be. So, but I'm hoping that will eventually change as I do more learning. Yeah, they have amazing history. One of the things that was fascinating to me as someone who worked in print design and has an abiding passion for print and typography and so on is Koreans actually invented movable metal type before Gutenberg.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say, who knew? But you obviously knew.
Yeah.
Where did you find that out?
And they invented it before the Chinese, and they invented it. So they were.
And this is that's one of the things that as graphic designers you learn all about, like how
Gutenberg and you learn all the European Western stuff.
No one ever said anything about the fact that
it's grudgingly admitted that the Chinese invented paper and blah blah blah. But yeah, so quite amazing. Rebecca says reading is easy, and I picked up a lot of phrases fairly quickly. I was young then too. Yeah. Well, and also, I notice because I watch Korean dramas and listen to Korean
music
content of various kinds of music and so on. I think that I'm picking up on patterns of language, and that's really helpful. Françoise is bringing us back to the topic of the day. I apologize for that sidetrack, everybody.
No, that's the nature of conversation.
It's fluid, right?
Exactly.
So we're meandering around. So Françoise says she did not hear what song you are working on. So perhaps you could restate that.
I'm working with a Rush song called Earth Shine, and
Rush is a Canadian rock band. Three-man rock band, and they're they work from the 70s on
to the 2010s.
When did Neil die?
Like 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. But they finished around 2015, I think.
Right.
Ish.
Okay.
They finished their last tours and so on.
Yeah.
So. And it's a song about the fact that when you have a sliver moon and the circumstances are right, there can be reflection of light from the sun reflecting off the earth and illuminating faintly the rest of the moon. So
the dark side of the moon.
So you get the bright crescent and a very pale
dim.
That's a better word.
Yeah.
The rest of the sphere. Yeah. So, yeah. So
cool. Cherie writes, to speak or at least try to speak in the visiting country language is a sign of respect. I so agree, Cherie.
Yes, exactly.
I'm always so admiring of people who come to Canada and speak, however haltingly, so much better English than I could speak of their language. Which is sometimes zero.
It's kind of
on my part.
It's kind of humbling.
It is humbling,
which is good. I think.
I know a few people who are polyglots. One guy I grew up with And we were both in East Asian Studies department at U of T. I wasn't there for very long, but he went at it hammer and tongs. Very talented at languages. Anyway, he learned Mandarin, which we all needed to learn. But then he went on to learn Cantonese, Japanese, and I believe some Korean as well. Who knows? Maybe he's fluent in Korean by now. And he lived in Taiwan for a time, and yeah, amazing. And he's if you just saw him, you'd think he was British, straight out of a period pre-World War II, I guess Edwardian English television program. He would look perfect in those.
In one of those sets.
Tweedy country gentleman, country squire. And so I remember going to Chinatown with him and him starting to speak fluently to the Chinese shop owners, and them being astounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite, I'm sure he enjoyed the effect he had. Chris says, congrats, happy for you. Thank you, Chris. Philippa says, hi, Kim and Kal. I'm sorry I can't join you. A friend showed up unexpectedly. Yesterday, I tried my hand at a collage, so I'll post it later. Smile.
Awesome. Perfect.
Great. We look forward to seeing it, Philippa. Have a great visit with your friend.
Enjoy your visit. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for saying hi.
Sticking your head in metaphorically and saying hi.
So nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rebecca says, my uncle on my dad's side spoke 5 languages.
Wow.
And my grandfather on my mom's side spoke 9. Wow. I am in awe. I don't know how many languages I can learn in the time I have. We have no idea how much time we have, any of us, but I want to learn languages because I just love the idea of connecting with people that way, and getting inside. Language is such a great window into a culture. Language and food are 2 great windows into culture, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I'm allergic to so much food that language is really my option. Oh, dear. Yeah. Rebecca, I'm dying to know what languages they spoke. I realize you're probably trying to collage, but so whenever it's convenient for you, you want to take a break. That would be fascinating. Margaret said, I lived in Japan for 4 years. Oh my God. I'm so envious. In a very nice way, I promise you. And have taught Japanese for 7 years. Wow.
Wow, Margaret. I had no idea. That's so cool.
That's fabulous. Oh, the people you want to talk to in Japan are not necessarily the ones that speak English. Yes. There is a photographer I've gotten friendly with on Instagram. He's very accomplished. He's got a massive audience compared to mine, but we've gotten friendly nonetheless. And he writes his account is called Tokyo Times Lee, Lee. He's an Englishman in Japan. He married a Japanese woman and lived there. And she subsequently died. But he's still there. And he goes around, he does street photography, and he goes around documenting a lot of the change that's happening in Tokyo. So elsewhere in Japan too, but he's based in Tokyo. And he, a lot of the old areas that get torn down and replaced with parking lots, surprisingly, as well as new buildings. But one of my favorite things that he documents are these tiny hole-in-the-wall bars, neighborhood bars. They serve a bit of food too, but mostly people go there to drink, I think. And they're tiny. And, you get claustrophobic looking at how packed packed in they are. Very few customers at a time. They're usually just literally sitting in a row at a bar, and there's a tiny little kitchen behind the bar where the mama san or the papa san is. Usually it's a mama san doing the pouring and the food prep, and some of them, the owners are like 85, 90 years old, and people have been going there for generations. It's just extraordinary. Sadly, of course, some of them are now closed, but they're forever recorded in his beautiful photographs. And some of them are still open. And I think if I went into a place like that, that's where I would need to have some Japanese because these are not people who are they're not young, and B, I think they're just not coming from the slice of life where a lot of English usage has been part of their life. So anyway, so when I go to Tokyo, I'm gonna meet up with him, and he's gonna take me to one or more of these places because, oh my God, extraordinary. Cherie writes, language has no calories. You're so right, Cherie. That's amazing. Great way to look at it. Nellie says, I'm almost there. 5 languages. Wow.
That's impressive, Nellie.
You are so impressive. I know you're fluent in French.
And you must have...
Arabic must be one of your languages, right? She's losing her German, as she spent over 20 years not hearing a word of it. Yeah, I know one of our friends who German is one of his languages. He makes a point of watching things on YouTube or listening to things that are in German to keep it up. It's so important, if you want to have access to it. That's a wonderful thing about the internet. Hey, Nellie, aside from this, I'm afraid we can't conduct virtual collage jam in German because I don't know. I think I remember 5 words from my high school.
5 more than I have. So.
Margaret says, cool. Tokyo is so amazing. Yeah, you so often see that famous intersection in Tokyo with all the electronic billboards and the incredible crisscrossing crosswalks and all of that, and sort of think of Tokyo as being shiny and new. And of course, the Tokyo earthquake in the early 20th century devastated a lot of the genuinely old stuff, but there are all these wonderful old neighborhoods, lanes, whatever, that I have to check out. Not that I don't like the bright lights too. I like both.
No,
that's
amazingly,
the thing.
You can get both in the same city. So
exactly. Margaret adds, oh yes, there's one that's amazing called Piss Alley. They can be very frank about things, can't they? Asians in general, my the Asian side of my family can be alarmingly frank sometimes, especially the older generation. Rebecca says, my uncle, it was all European languages, French, Italian, German, Spanish, and something else. Yeah. That's a wonderful thing in Europe. The number of people who can speak multiple languages is so high. Margaret says, the official name is Yokocho. Yokocho. It's probably not Yokocho. That sounds like I'm emphasizing the middle syllable too much, like an English speaker. Yokocho. You have to go. Yes, I will, in fact, write it down. Right now, I'll type it into a note. It'll give me a note. Doesn't seem to want to give me a note. I don't know why. Okay.
It's annoying.
I'll just go back into the chat later when we're offline. Rebecca adds her grandfather spoke Italian, Spanish, Greek. That's a less usual one. Latin and some other European ones, I think. I think he also spoke at least a bit of some Indian languages, and he could read and write Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Wow.
Maybe Arabic too. Amazing. That's your blood, Rebecca. Wow. I love it. My mother can speak Spanish, and she can also speak some French. The thing is, she mostly doesn't speak, so she's very introverted. So Nellie says French, English, Arabic, German, and Spanish. That's a wonderful selection of languages. Now, am I right that you studied in France at some point, Nellie? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to share that publicly, but I just have some feeling that you studied in France. But then maybe, I know some parts of the Middle East, French would have been a language that was used too. So I don't want to be... I misremember a lot of things, so you can always clarify me privately if you prefer. Rebecca adds, my uncle was from here and never even graduated high school, just taught himself those languages.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was a brilliant, talented guy, even if he didn't graduate high school. Credentials are just credentials. Yeah, I mean, people can work hard for them, don't get me wrong, but they're not the measure of a person. Nellie says, I was invited to Japan by the Japan Foundation, a dream I can't get over. Go to the Japan Foundation in Toronto. So, wow, how did you get invited by them to go to Japan? Like, that's amazing. Were you doing a project that was related to it? Did they?
Was it art history related? I know
you're an art historian.
Yeah.
Well,
I suspect that, but I don't know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't do to get invited by a place like that. Yeah, I have gone to their website, and I don't get out much, and they've had over the years had a number of events that I would love to have gone to, but hopefully I'll get out more as time goes on. My mom is a francophone, right? Well, that gives you a big head start, right? I remember when I was growing up, my mother said to my father, because he spoke 2 languages other than English and a smattering of other things, but really a smattering. She said, why don't you speak to Kim in your languages? And the problem was, because of when he came over and how Canada was at that time. He came over in the 50s, and he was just so isolated, and there was no internet, and there was no, I guess if he'd had a shortwave radio, he might have found some programming that was in one of his languages, which were Dutch and Indonesian, by the way. And so he'd forgotten them. And it wasn't until my eldest uncle came over in the early 70s and retaught him that he got them back, especially Dutch. But Indonesian Dutch. I remember him saying he had trouble understanding the Dutch from the Netherlands because their accent was different. I'm so happy for you, Nellie, that you got, I assume you went since you were invited, and I hope you had a really fascinating time. Margaret says, oh, yes, as an artist, you might get there on a grant. I went twice with them as a Japanese teacher. Right. Good point. I have to make a convincing case for why I should be funded to do that. But
you're up to the task.
Well, no, I'd have to enlist some expertise. I have, especially nowadays, I have trouble writing for grants.
Yeah. What I meant was you're up for the
challenge of figuring it out.
Yeah. Not necessarily up to writing the application.
Nellie says that French was her first language. Yes, with your mother being a francophone. Lebanon was a francophone country. That's what I thought I remembered, but I didn't want to. I have one of my first bosses, boss/client, was Salah Bashir, who is Lebanese. He retired, sold off Cineplex recently and retired from that. But at the time I knew him, he was publishing a very successful little publication called Video Mania at the time when, having a VCR was a very exciting thing. And so certain people were very into collecting videos and learning more about the new releases and so on. And he did an amazing job with that. Very small staff, and I was the art director, production manager. And it was a great experience. And anyway, I remember him telling me about Lebanon and how before all the terrible conflict, bombings, etc., devastation, let's put it that way.
There's a Paris of the Middle East.
What is the name of the city in Lebanon?
Beirut.
Beirut was the Paris of the Middle East. And even more so if it was Francophone, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why it was the Paris rather than the New York, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever, yeah. Or the London.
Salah is famous, has been famous for quite a long time now for his philanthropy, his jewelry collection, but his art collection is to die for. Like, he loans out his Andy Warhols for exhibitions and things. But he's an incredible philanthropist. Just, I really...
He's given a lot to hospitals, right?
Hospitals, all kinds of things. Anyway. Nellie says, I gave lectures about Japan and I wrote articles about their exhibits.
Awesome.
I was constantly, and then she adds, it was, multiple exclamation mark. I'm so glad. And she says, exactly, being paid to go. That's what I need. Because I have no means otherwise. And then she said, I almost had a heart attack when I was told of the scholarship. No kidding.
Yeah, wow. That was
kidding.
Like amazing day to hear that.
Yeah. That's so great. I'm so happy for you, Nellie. I love hearing things like that. People getting to do extraordinary things. In Paris this time, I went to Musée Guimet and was astounded to remember meeting with Professor Akiyama, the founder. Oh, wow. That's incredible. Wow. And I haven't heard of that museum because I haven't been to Paris. And so I only know about, Pompidou and Louvre. I have a friend who actually exhibited in the Georges Pompidou Center. She was invited to participate in a science-based art group exhibition there. Extraordinary. But she is extraordinary. She's an incredible Canadian artist who exhibits all over the world. She has attended this event actually in the past.
On occasion, yeah.
Yeah. Travel.
Topic near and dear to your heart.
Yeah. I'm focusing on my health right now because that will help with travel too. But yeah, how I would dearly love to get to Korea is doing an art residency. That would be and then tack on some time after the residency. But also have it be a substantial residency, not just a couple of weeks, but
yeah, a lot
3
of
months or
residencies are
something.
relatively short. And
there are some that are quite long too.
Yeah.
It just, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you're going to travel significantly, it does seem to make sense to go for a while.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah. So Professor Akiyama asked Nellie whether she could speak French and met her in a French cafe and conducted their meeting in French.
Awesome.
Oh, that's so wonderful that you could do that. And she wishes me all the best for my health. Thank you, Nellie. I appreciate that. I have been working on it. I'm getting stronger. I can't shake this fatigue. That's
Yet.
Yeah.
You will.
Working on it though. What I do is I remind people I'm not as strong as I look or sound. So, like the open mic event last week, it's Thursday, I sang 2 songs. Now, of course, I've intensive practicing leading up to it and massive adrenaline rush and nerves. But it took me 3 days to recover from singing 2 songs. To boil it down, to be really reductionist about it. And I'd like to improve that ratio a bit, you know. So part of it is I need to do more of them so that it is less taxing. It'll still be taxing, but less so. No, I didn't get it. Neither Cal nor I have had COVID, Nellie. This is just from the cancer and surgery. No, we have been
So far, so
we've
good.
been cautious, but we've also been lucky because I know people who've not gone anywhere without their N95 masks, still got COVID because no one else was wearing a mask, and yeah. Margaret says, but check out that grants page above. Oh, which grants page? Did I miss something? Okay, I'm going to look for your name in the chat here. I see your reference to you getting grants twice, Margaret. I don't see it.
But if she put a link in, it would be rejected.
Oh yes, so links aren't
allowed in chat because they can be a way that people spam live streams.
Yeah, you know, people put random people will come onto a live stream and put a link to a Bitcoin place or a porn site or something, so they block that. So Margaret, if you don't mind, I realize you may be trying to collage, but if you don't mind reposting the link, but replace one of the dots with the word dot in brackets. That's how I get around it, and then I'll copy it and I'll correct it and then go to the link that I'm assuming you posted or tried to post. So I think, yeah, it doesn't show, Margaret. It may show on yours just because it's you that did it, but YouTube blocks it because it's a link. Yeah. They're trying to protect us from some very, very unpleasant people. So bless.
They're out there.
It's a good case in this case. Yeah, if we were on Zoom, of course, you'd be able to share it easily. But then it wouldn't be as accessible to everybody. That's why we went with YouTube. But it does have that drawback. Now, I wanted to say, Kal, that you need to update everyone on what you're doing, because I'm chattering away here about
and
other things.
And that's awesome.
Gives you a chance to work away, right?
So I'm not even sure that I know what I'm doing, but I have an idea. But I should say, obviously, I have an idea, but I don't know whether it's going to work or not. So this is the top half of the diptych, and let's see if this will be top, bottom. So we'll look at it this way. This one, I've done a lot of sort of dark images with it, or in my strata, and I'm just trying to animate the edges by peeling some to show, keeping it mostly dark, but show some torn edges and show some of the variety. I have cut the moon here. I haven't peeled anything away yet, but the idea is I'm going to hopefully peel to reveal one of the brighter, maybe this yellow jelly print for the crescent, and then something else that's dark, similarly dark, but maybe slightly different for the moon. And then at the bottom, I'm not sure I even have a good plan with this. I've put a bunch of, these are space, night, celestial type things like star maps and so on. Not entirely, but I put a few of those in. Here I put a bunch of sort of land-like things, so sort of like heaven and earth. But I don't know how this one's going to go, so we'll see.
I like that star map element. That's really
I like
nice.
that too. And there are other ones, but I'll probably leave a lot of this one. In fact, there's one. Maybe what I can do is show a bit of the other one down the side without. Yeah, that's good. So that's fun. Get a little of that. Actually. So one thing I am doing is the moon is now they're going to be peeled away, but it's crisply cut. And so I'm trying to do tears pretty much everywhere else on this one. It is introducing a lot of these white edges, which is messing with my darkness a little bit. Intention for more darkness. So what I might do with that is paste a couple of things over top of, selectively in a few places, back over top of some of the, if I end up with too many lights.
Right.
But I might, sometimes you think, oh yeah, this is too much in the way of lights, and then I'll look at it and decide, you know what, it's fine. So I will suspend judgment on that until later.
I think that's one of the important things about this process, is that it's flux, and you can't definitively say anything until the flux sort of winds down into a more solidified form.
Yeah, so that's definitely the layer I'm going to want for my crescent moon. It's gone a little imperfectly, which is why I do decollage, because imperfectly is more interesting than perfect.
Yeah.
And now I'll see what I can find in terms of a darker layer underneath. I probably don't want this one to show, because then it's too much the same.
How many layers did you make in terms of your lasagna, as you like to call it?
I really don't know. So
right.
Yeah. What's happening here is I'm sort of peeling away the fluff, and it's making it too light. So I'll have to.
Right.
So what I'll do in this case often is I will peel that away, but I won't throw it away because I might glue it back in. So I'll sort of put that aside in a safe place. That's pretty funny, thinking about what my desk looks like.
Safe place.
Yeah. Where is there a safe place? And then I'll dig a little deeper and see what else shows. And if nothing better shows.
Then you can.
Yeah, I might come back to that.
Makes sense. I just wanted to say I asked the question that I think if Jane were here, she would have asked.
Yes, and Jane said, those of you guys know I think she's
pretty loyal.
I think she said that she's been at pretty much every one of them, but she's having like a big family birthday party for like a grandson. And people are coming from out of town, so she said, "I can't be live," and it bugs me. So.
Yeah. I'm sure she'll check out the replay though.
I glued some of these layers too convincingly.
Right.
Yeah.
I suppose you could take a little sponge and soak them off.
I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is a little reconstructive surgery. And make a piece to fit in there.
Yeah.
That I then, I should have drawn it and then cut it. Oh well. I'll fit the piece in, but I will also distress it, I think, so it doesn't look too pristine.
Several bad jokes went through my head when you said that.
Well, feel free. I mean, people
are
expecting bad jokes. They
get them from you.
Yeah, exactly. So it might be nice for them to get them from a different source for a change.
No, I don't think so. I'm going to spare everybody. Fortunately, Sharia saved me by commenting, "I have got to try this decollage technique. Looks like an eclipse." Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah. In other news, I took up a couple of word games on my phone I'm not sure if I've mentioned this here or not, to help counteract the lasting effects from my concussion from 2018. And one of them was recommended to me by a speech therapist who treats a lot of concussion people with brain injuries of various kinds. And she said it will help me with getting my words back. I know it probably doesn't sound like I have trouble with words, but the level at which I could function with words before the accident and
very different than
completely
since.
Different. And anyway, and I started doing that game that she recommended. Word Cookies, by the way, is that game. And then I took up another one, and this other one has tournaments every weekend. So you rack up points in the tournament, and I think it's against other people in your province. I think that's how it works. Anyway, for the second time, I came in first place last night.
And how long is it? It's all weekend, isn't it?
It's all weekend. Yeah, it starts Friday night, I think, and ends Sunday night.
Yeah.
And won 1,000 coins. Not real coins, sadly, but their coins. And a fabulous crown. So there you go.
And the points you can use in the game, right?
Yeah,
They can
yeah.
be advantageous.
Like if
right?
you need hints or something, you can spend some of your coins for hints. I try not to use hints, but sometimes you really need to. Anyway, that's the fun part. And it's actually very rewarding, because when I first started with the word games, it was absolutely painful. It was so hard to do the word games. So the fact that I can come first in a tournament just shows me how far I've come. So yeah, if you know anybody who has trouble accessing their words as a result of brain injury, I definitely recommend that technique. I'm forever grateful to. It was a student of mine who's a professional speech therapist, Susanna.
We met her in Halliburton, right?
Yeah, yeah. She took my course in Halliburton. Speaking of Halliburton, we are both teaching at Halliburton this summer.
That's right.
We're the first 2 weeks of July, right, Cal?
Is it?
I think so. I'm only teaching the first week, but Cal is teaching both weeks, assuming the courses go ahead.
So I'm doing a course that I've done a few times lately called, in the last few years, called Landscapes Real, Imagined, and Altered. So
it's a very interesting course. It's not your usual landscape course.
No, it's very much not your usual landscape course, which is good because there are quite a few of those up there, which you'd expect, and there should be. It's much more sort of personally oriented and experimentally oriented. But I'm also teaching, of course, I can't remember the exact name of it. I think I went with Collage New Directions, but it is in essence a collage course that will have a little bit of art history each day, a short exercise that the class does each day, an optional theme for each day that you can choose to do. Oh, I'm going to play with that for a little while or all day or not at all. And so you can, if you're stuck, you can use what I give you. And if you have ideas for what you want to do of your own, you can do those. So it's very flexible and allows your personal creativity. And I have done something like that in the past in the city, and I and the students have both really enjoyed it. So I thought Halliburton would be a great place to do that. So looking forward to that. And Kim, if you could check the calendar and see when those courses are, because I think you're right, but I remember which week is which.
Oh, we have Sherry Daly here too.
Oh,
hi Sherry.
Sorry, having trouble waving. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've put in the chat
awesome, thank you.
The word games, and yeah, I'm thinking of trying adding Wordle to my arsenal. And seeing what that's about. Peggy Ann Budd is here.
Hey Peggy Ann. Wow. We've had
wonderful.
Great to have so many people out. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome. What are you working on, Peggy?
Hi, and she says, thanks for sharing about your word game. I do know someone who has had a mild stroke, but is having trouble accessing words. Would you please send me the link? So I've correctly written the names of those two games, and depending on whether your friend has an iPhone, in which case they should go to the Apple App Store and just search for those exact names. Or if they're on a like a Samsung phone or other Android phone, then they should go to is it Google Play or something like that, where the apps are available for those systems. So either way,
because you can't,
but you access them on the phone.
Yeah.
It's not a link. You go through the app for the apps. The apps app. Excuse me. Because it's so helpful. And just tell them to be patient with themselves and give it time. The brain will rewire, but they have to be patient with themselves, as I did. And it gets better. It does. Just patiently going at it. And at the beginning, I paid cash money to purchase hints, packages of hints to help me get through so I could keep progressing. I didn't spend a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money, but I didn't spend a lot of money. But it's important to feel like you're progressing, to spend, $2 or $3 here and there. And and now I don't need to, because I have enough coins built up that I earned, and by being successful at it, and I just spend them and re-earn them, the virtual coins, as needed. Joy says, congrats. It will be great